All right, we've got some big updates when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, going over Splatoon Raiders, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, and even we've got a God of War Laufey update to go over. For those who don't know, I'm actually a big fan of the God of War series. Not as much with the newer 2018 and Ragnarok games, but the old school games I like quite a bit. So I wanted to go over what they had to say, plus these great Switch 2 updates. But before we continue, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at 140,000 subscribers, or on September 1st, whichever comes first. Subscribe, like, comment. The winner will be chosen at random, and it's a worldwide giveaway. Thanks, peeps. All right, starting off here in the land of the Splatoon Raiders, we've got some gameplay shown, 2 brand new commercials. I'm super excited for this game because Splatoon Raiders is a title that I had expectations for. I'm thinking, okay, when they first showed it off, this could be something cool, but we didn't get the full depth and scope of what this game was going to be until recently at the Splatoon Raiders Direct. And that Direct, I would say, convinced a lot of people to be more on board with this title. You've got some cool RPG elements, you've got different classes, you got really cool multiplayer with a game that's focused on single player. Like, you can play through the whole game single player, but then you can also play through with your friends. You can go help out other people if they need help, get rewards for that. They've got multiple different difficulties. They've got all sorts of stuff that you can do in this game. You can upgrade your base, you can continue to collect, and just really just do a ton of cool stuff. Like, if you play the demo, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, which the demo is at Best Buy, Walmart, Targets, just certain locations. Like, you have to go there and you can see if you can get it. I played it at my local Best Buy and had a blast. More and more people are finding the demo units and saying, okay, this is actually really good. And these commercials look great as well. Splatoon Raiders is a title that I think Nintendo should do more like the archetype for that title. Take a game that you already have, take a franchise that you already have, and then make kind of like a spin-off of that. Make something else, like an adventure or something else that you can do in a short amount of time that doesn't take as much of a staff, and you can price appropriately. I think that the 50-60 split for Splatoon Raiders is awesome. I would love to see them do like an ARMS spin-off game where they take the ARMS franchise, the fighting game from 2017 from the Nintendo Switch 1, and make that into like a single-player adventure game where your friends can kind of come in and bop some people too, like an action adventure game or something. I think that would be really cool. They can definitely take some of these other franchises that they have and spin them off into fun ways like they've done here. These commercials look great. These are Japanese commercials that you're seeing or you already saw, and the gameplay itself for Splatoon Raiders is just so smooth, and it looks just like they added like a lot of cool ideas that we have not seen in, like, let's say the Splatoon 3 DLC. You have the side order DLC, you've got the Octo expansion, in addition to the single player adventures. For those who don't know, which some people really don't know this, but Splatoon actually has single player adventures in every single game. Yes, online multiplayer is the focus for the base Splatoon games, Splatoon 1, Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, but they all have single player campaigns that people like in their own right. But what Splatoon Raiders does is that it takes all the different aspects from what they've learned over these years, the last 10 years or so of making Splatoon games, and it puts it all into one, then adds a bunch of other cool mechanics and RPG stuff on top of that. So for me at least, the Splatoon side order DLC, Splatoon 3 side order DLC, that DLC is cool because there's a lot of RPG elements, but it's like a roguelite game. Like, you go through like a tower, areas are kind of small. Splatoon, when it comes to the Salmon Run mode, it's kind of like this. This is like the base they were building off a Salmon Run, where you fight a bunch of enemies, but then it has the RPG elements of Splatoon 3 side order, but then it has the single player structure of the Splatoon single player games, like when you go through like the campaign. So it kind of combines all the different aspects of what I like about Splatoon games. But Splatoon, when it comes to like itself, it doesn't have like the RPG elements that I think that this game with Splatoon Raiders is doing quite well, but it fits for what they're trying to do. You go, you raid, you collect, you upgrade, you get different weapons, you have your classes. So for me at least, this is going to be a must play type of title, especially after that Splatoon Direct that we got and played it for myself at the Best Buy demo unit the other day. I was like, okay, this is pretty good, and I think I'm going to go in for another round when it comes to Splatoon Raiders. I do want to check it out again. Even though it's coming out pretty soon here, I might go in there, check it out one more time beforehand, because I was just kind of messing around in the first level, and I didn't get to go as far as I wanted to, because there's a 15-minute timer, at least on my demos. So I think I'm going to go back in and just kind of shoot through the first level and get as far as I can within that 15 minutes. And if I even need to play it again, I'll probably do that. So What do you guys think about Splatoon Raiders? You guys planning on picking it up? Comes out July 23rd. Let me know in the comment section. But now we are going to move over to the next thing here, and that is Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. I wanted to wait a little bit more before I covered it because they're dropping different information on the official Fire Emblem JP Twitter account. Nothing spoiler, just little gameplay clips here and there showing off some of the characters and the trusted allies of the main cast. So let's talk about Bonaparte, and he is Theodora's right-hand man, a wise general from the kingdom of Samaris who still serves on the front lines. In a kingdom where writing is forbidden, he records all of his history and wisdom in his memory, and he likes storing knowledge, debates, and poetry. That doesn't seem like that's a good idea. In a kingdom where writing is forbidden, yeah, that just seems like they're trying to hide things to where people have to remember stuff and then they can kind of shape it to what they want. They showed off a scene with him as well, and yeah, the character design in this go like crazy. These guys look battle hardened and hardcore with it. And you can see in the battle here, he has some magic where he can deal with various different people, and magic's always good in Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem, magic can really hit hard, but then he also has upfront combat too. He has sword combat that he can do too, so it's just cool to see the game in motion. It looks smooth, it animates great, there's no hitching between going from the overworld little map thing into the actual battles. So I love what I'm seeing here from the characters, from the style. The outfits are definitely interesting. I think you'll get more used to it based on where they come from and everything. Now we have another character to go over too as well, and his name is Buccaneer, and he's a veteran warrior nicknamed the Demon Bear, and he looks like a demon bear. He served Letta's father for many years and often calls Letta Milady, follows Letta on her quests for revenge, but has complicated feelings about it. So he likes loyalty, mentoring, imagining Letta's happiness. And the thing about this though, you're seeing like a little scene with him, and then we also have a little gameplay combat. Now there's a scene where Buccaneer reminisces about his younger days as a hot-headed warrior. It seems he met Letta's father more than 20 years ago. And then you also have this combat too with him, and during battle he uses a sturdy body to fend off enemy attacks while striking back with this trusty axe. And some people were talking about how they recycled some animations from Fire Emblem Engage, and yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Fire Emblem Engage, obviously a great game. There's a lot of actually dope animations in Fire Emblem Engage, so I'm pretty sure they're going to recycle stuff from Fire Emblem Three Houses and Fire Emblem Engage, and then also build everything on top of that and have some new stuff in there. But for me at least, the animations look great. I think they look really cool. The actual graphics itself look good, and this guy hits like a truck, so I like to see that. I like to see them get in everything that they can. This is going to be an expansive game with so many different routes and so many different things that you can do in the game, so many different characters and combat options and weapons. Like, you can already tell it's setting up to be a massive title that's going to really take you quite some time. I know Fire Emblem Three Houses at times was overwhelming with the amount of content that's in the game, so I think anywhere where they can kind of find, all right, we don't necessarily need to redo everything, they need to get that in there so they can get this game out in a somewhat fashionable time. Otherwise, we'd be waiting, I would say, 15 years for Fire Emblem games, or well more than a decade. It's already been quite some time between Three Houses and this game. So for me at least, I'm excited to be able to play the game, and like I said, the animations, the gameplay, everything looks so smooth. The graphics look a lot better. You can tell that the Nintendo Switch 2 is significantly better than the Switch 1, just based off of this right here. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave just looks so much better from what they've done here. So excited to see more, and I'm glad, one thing that I talked about on my live stream the other day is that I'm glad that Nintendo, or more like Fire Emblem, they're not showing off too much. They're just showing small little clips, nothing to where that's going to be a really big spoiler. And the thing about this game is that they showed it off first last year at the September Nintendo Direct with Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, and they just had one short trailer. They showed one more trailer in June for the last Nintendo Direct that we had, and that's all we've gotten. We haven't gotten any big, huge gameplay blowout, so they don't want to spoil anything. The game is coming up here in the next couple months, next few months, and they're not spoiling things. They're not showing massive amounts of gameplay yet. So I do think as we get closer to Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave's launch, they will show more, but I'm glad that they didn't blow out all the information beforehand. Sometimes developers, they show way too much too soon, so this one they're just kind of peppering in small things, and you can pick and choose what you want to watch. And then of course, when they have that overview trailer, when they have that Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave Direct where they detail everything, if you want to watch that, you can watch it. If you don't, you can completely skip it. So for me, I think that they're going at a good clip, very similar to Fire Emblem Three Houses. where we did get a lot more information closer to the game's release. And the time skip stuff, they didn't really spoil any of that. So excited to see more when it comes to Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave as we get closer to the launch of the game September 17th. But now we're going to move on to a game that's going to come out probably early 2027, and that is God of War Laufey. And we know that it's going to have a physical disc because the official Sony Santa Monica Twitter account stated that it would be. So we know that it's going to be released before January 2028 because it looks like Sony is set on ending physical media. So people were kind of worried, maybe will God of War not have a real physical? Well, now we have the answers for that. So publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment and developer Santa Monica Studio last month announced the next mainline entry in the God of War series, God of War Laufey, for the PlayStation 5. A release window was not shared. However, it appears the game will be launching before January 2028, as Sony Santa Monica Studio confirmed the game will be available on disc. Quote, "We can confirm God of War Laufey will be available on disc," said the developer via social media, and I'm pretty sure that's Twitter. Yeah, on Twitter. Shout outs to VG Charts for the article here. Yes, on the official Twitter account, they talked about, see you at the San Diego Comic-Con. Join us for God of War Laufey panel featuring game director Ariel Lawrence, moderator and head of creative Corey Balrog, and members of the cast for the behind-the-scenes stories, details about our new heroes, and more. And they talk about the Ballroom 20, Friday, July 24th, 5:30 p.m. PT. So pretty cool that they're having that. Obviously, it's not great right now when it comes to people and Sony because of them wanting to remove physical games. So I do think that they were getting a lot of people asking about that. So they just flat out said, yeah, we can confirm God of War Laufey will be available on disc. So they're just flat out saying that right now. So maybe you don't go pester them if you're at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm pretty sure there'll be some people holding signs or saying some things, but I mean, it wasn't their call. I think that if you look at what Sony Santa Monica has done, I'm pretty sure they want physical discs. They know that God of War games actually sell good physical. God of War Ragnarok and God of War 2018 both sold well physical. Now, yes, that was multiple years ago. I mean, God of War 2018 was quite some time ago, and then God of War Ragnarok, that was multiple years ago as well. But people still buy God of War physical. Like, if there's going to be a God of War game, especially big AAA titles for Sony, the data is skewed a little bit. If you look at their big AAA titles, from what we understand, they sold well physical. So I do think that Sony is kind of doing this obviously because they want to make more money, and they make way more money just selling the game digital and not having used games and all that type of stuff. They want to kill the used game market and all that, and they want to take all the profits for themselves when it comes down to it. But I don't think Sony Santa Monica feels that's the best option for God of War games. So that's why I think that they said, okay, I know you guys are upset, people are dropping comments and saying all this type of stuff, and we're going to have it on disc. But yeah, it looks like Sony is going to go through with that. So this could be one of the last games that we see from Sony officially that are on disc. I'm pretty sure they'll have a few more games for next year in 2027, but Sony doesn't release a lot of games each year. So God of War Laufey is absolutely going to be one of the last ones. And it's good though, because it'll get reprints and stuff, according to Sony at least, that the games that are released before January 2028, those games will be able to put in orders for more physical copies even after they're done. So it's new games going forward. So unfortunate, but I do think that it's cool that at least this one is happening. And yeah, it's one of those things where I've looked at and I'm thinking, like, what should I do? Like, what can you do to actually improve the situation or support what you want to support? And I think that that's ultimately what each gamer has to think about. For me, it's going to be supporting physical games. God of War Laufey is a game that I'm looking forward to. I think it looks fun, so I will be supporting that with a physical copy. But once they go all digital, it just doesn't sit right with me when it comes to what they're doing. And I don't want to turn this into that because we've already talked about this so many times. And I'm pretty sure we'll talk about it more as more information comes out. And we all get closer and closer to the date of when the physical game cutoff is happening. But for me, I just can't really accept the decision here. But like I said, I will support the physical games that do come out that I'm interested in playing. And after that, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to, but like you said, you never know. But right now, I haven't really been buying any digital games. I don't really buy too many digital games. If I can get a game physical, I'll get a game physical. So it puts into question a lot of things going forward. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be buying anything digital from Sony anytime soon or at all. And we'll see what happens. I have a PS5 Pro. I think that system's going to be around for a very long time. So I think I'm okay with that for now. So What do you guys think about everything that we talked about here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.